My Gavan and Melonine, and well met indeed. I'm Adrian, head of the modding team behind Divide and Conquer. Welcome back to the same as we continue on as Ered Luin. We bounce right off of where we ended last time with the unfortunate battle of Fuerost, whereby we lost Oin. And we came to the sad realization our army is now considerably outclassed by our enemy, and we need to improve. That being said, one of the game's best armies is down here. And when that one can get to the front lines, Angmar will be in for a shock. Depends how many of them survive the battle at Basradum, though. Barketa has a reasonably sized army, but it's all early tier stuff, only a few Longbeard units. Our most advanced locations are for Hamgathol, way at the back, and Gor's Hall, also way at the back. We are trying to buff Garth Helegoth to get that to be something of a recruitment hub as well, and all the while also trying to get Barketa to upgrade. But of course, Barketa's as good as it's going to get for some time. I mean, by the time Barketa is able to build troops that are of any use, we will long have moved past this area. But first, we must deal with the renaming of Fuerost. And my suspicions, my concerns about renaming and opening it up to the community were held true. As I read through the comments, thank you to every single one of you that did reply, though. I am very grateful. But thank you specifically to those who really actually took some time to think about it. Because, as you may or may not have learned, I'm something of a serious kind of fellow, and you're never going to get some sort of bizarre, childish name here. So those ones, whilst they might amuse in a comment, I'd never call a town anything absolutely bizarre, like Oins, Oink, or something like that, which was fairly common. So no, the winner is somebody called LD, but I believe this name was also mentioned by another user as well, and they've used Kuzdal, which I like an awful lot. Now, I don't know any Kuzdal myself, so I'm just entirely going off of what has been presented to me, and this was the name I liked the most. Oin Saloon, which means Oin's Fall, apparently. And I thought that was quite good. So that's going to be the town name. Thank you to LD for that, but indeed thank you to all for the options. If you are going to suggest a name, though, do suggest a name that you actually think is good. There were 2 comments where people had just gone to a thesaurus and just found alternative words for tomb. I thought, well, I could have done that. The point is for you to present something that you think would be entertaining and interesting, not just here's every possible English word that means tomb. Why don't you just choose from those? But anyway, I think we're at an end turn, so we should do that. And hope that Anuminas holds on, but kills most of the Agmarim army that's attacking it. I must confess I had to drum up desire to record today because I finished work a little while ago and I've been playing Age of Empires almost non-stop. I've completed the Dracula campaign now, and I'm going through them chronologically in the order that they actually appear in, which has been pretty cool actually, because you really feel the Mongol presence when you go through them chronologically, because the Mongols are in so many campaigns, either as a main antagonist or protagonist, or as a side character that you have to fight and defeat. And that has been really quite cool. So going through them in order, you really see this sort of rise of the Mongols, and then within a short space, relatively short, 200-300 years, the then complete decline of the Mongols as well. So that has been very entertaining, and I would heavily recommend doing them in order, chronological order, if you are also playing through them. But I only have a few left. Francisco de Almeida is left. I think it might be Francisco in Italian, in Portuguese actually, but it would be Francisco were it Italian. I've got that one, Bayanaung, and only one other that's... Oh, Montezuma as well. And then there are 3 Battles of the Conquerors as well. Right, so Angmar has grouped their army up into one under Captain Fionn, and he is standing back, even though Oin's Saloon is now ready for the taking. But he doesn't want it. The Angmarim army that was at Barketa has also sort of pulled away. Or rather, they are now coming for Barketa. No, there was an army standing right next to it, wasn't there? And they've gone. And as we hoped, the Northern Dunedain have smashed them out of Anuminas, and the Angmarim have failed there. Today's episode, though, is going to be dominated by the retaking of Basradum, because we are now but a turn away. Oh, look, we have some troops here who can go to the front lines. Absolutely noodly. Why don't you take Thra with you as well? And head off to Oin Saloon, where we find Grinfarn the Conqueror trapped in there alone. If we leave Glyan in there and pull Grinfarn back to Garth Helegoth. Unfortunately, we can't talk to the High Elves again on this turn, because the Misty Mountains are besieging them once more. Always the damned way. But we'll wait until Nain can move south. And then we shall see. Oin Saloon, of course, can't do anything until it gets reinforcements. And they are here in this fort. But what is that that's joining us? The catapult, yes. So we're waiting for that before we move. And then, I mean, it's not a very good army, but it's an army nevertheless. And it'll head out and do what it intended to do. One hopes. One hopes. I am achievement hunting in Age of Empires, if you're wondering as well. I only have a few left to get now, but one of the ones that I will almost certainly have to cheese to get, which I feel a little disappointment in, but unfortunately I'm just not good enough and I don't have the time to realistically get it. And that is the single hardest achievement according to the global stats on Steam, which is fight against 3 human players on your own and win.
But we will stand
I think I'm going to have to turn to the Discord and either set it up so that they essentially just let me have that win, because it's almost certainly going to be the last achievement I get. But anyway, back to Divide and Conquer. Angmar have attacked at Barketa, which means we can't get our catapult in there, and we don't want to attack with a catapult on its own. A bride has been presented. Karandros is under attack, and so is Oin Saloon, where I think we'll be alright if we have to defend. Captain Lachline has gone away, and Captain Lachan comes. But I am not too worried about Lachan. It's just a shame we don't have the catapult involved. But we don't want to rise up. We'll let him come for us. And again, we'll try and defend. But we've now made it, just as the Dunlendings are being beaten back. And there is the actual Balrog roaming the roaming the world. A Balrog, I changed that bit, but unfortunately Balrog, the Terror of Middle-earth, I need to change the epithet. Same reason why he is called... Oh no, hang on, that's the name underneath, isn't it? I need to change that to a Balrog, comma. And then, I don't know, we just need to change it. But anyway, there he is. Terror of Middle-earth. That's because that's his actual name. I see. And then there's Basradum. Now this is going to be a real challenge. Basradum is a town, so it does have walls, but the Balrog is just there. I think we're going to have to divide and conquer. And then we're going to have to take him on. Look at the trolls. Oh, and the Balrog himself. Right, hopefully this will work properly and the Balrog will be as part of the Balrog battalion and he won't be heading up that catapult crew. Once he is dead, I think the second army that spawns there is a bit easier to deal with. It has a few less trolls and a few more heavy goblins instead. Now these armies will be considerably stronger in future versions because, of course, as I say, we're going to buff the heavy goblin units, rename them and make them a bit more of a middle tier unit rather than a sort of trash quasi or fake elite is a better word. And that will make this Balrog army even better. Now, we attack them, so they have the luxury of sitting on that hill and doing nothing. And there's nowhere really good to go up. If we could get up there, we could possibly get them in the side just here. I think that's probably going to be our best bet. We don't have any fast units at all to deal with their catapult crew. But I wonder if actually they're going to pull back up here anyway, which means coming up there will still see us as a sitting duck. I'm tempted to just start the battle, to be honest, and then we'll just walk towards them. Because if they have moved up there, then moving us over there is not a great decision. But if they start just straight ahead of us, then we're in the worst possible place. No, I am going to go over here. And so be it. Consequence. Oh, fantastic. They stayed in the middle. That's what we want to see. So, off we go. Let's get a walk on. So, we've got Khazad-dûm Reclaimers. Khazad-dûm Reclaimers are, of course, axe throwers. And then when they finish with their axes, they have a two-handed hammer, which is pretty swing. Hithaiglia Beast Hunters are obviously just archers, and then I think they used to be spears or pikes after that, but I think they are swordmen now. But again, we'll find out in due course. Dragon Slayers of Ered Mithrin, of course, the finest unit here today. Armor-piercing masters. They are armor-piercing in this version, aren't they? Yes. For a very, very long time, they weren't armor-piercing, and it annoyed me to no end. Much like many of you as well, because lots of people commented and said, why are the Dragon Slayers not armor-piercing? And it was just one of those things where I just couldn't understand why the Third Age team did not make them armor-piercing. The Balrog is supposed to be here somewhere, but we can't currently see him. His bodyguard are a slightly darker troll. Oh, speaking of darker, as some people have pointed out, and in a few videos now actually, the recordings seem to be darker at the moment, and I have no idea, I'm afraid, why that is. I haven't edited anything about my Nvidia settings or my Medieval 2 graphics settings, and yet the game seems to be darker on the recordings. And my gut instinct is that Nvidia, in its infinite wisdom, has done something in one of its many, many driver updates that now changes the way that it records, and it's just not playing ball. And of course, Nvidia and Windows are famous for not really working all that well together. If you browse the Nvidia forums for even a short time after a Windows update comes out, you will learn quite quickly that Nvidia and Windows do not play nicely together all the time. And Windows actually released an update not that long ago. Nvidia updates all the time, as I say. So it's almost certainly something to do with that. And it may or may not be changed in future. But for those who may use Nvidia to record, you may already know that you don't really get very many options in in tweaking the recording itself. With it being an absolute doddle to record and being super useful to record, you pay for that in that you don't have very much manipulation over the recording. You'd have to do any of those kinds of changes in post, which I don't like to do. I don't know why the Balrog isn't there, but also looking on the map, the leader, it doesn't appear to be here either. I think he must be hiding. Ah, yes, look, there we go. And unfortunately, he is a catapult. Yes, so that problem unfortunately remains. So we're going to kill the Balrog even in the most ignominious way because he's not really here. That fellow just there is the actual Balrog general. He has a sort of unique model. You'll note he has a sort of unique Balrog-inspired helmet, and that's of course because the what word am I looking for? Compromise in having the Balrog work as he does in the game now requires that, unfortunately, he isn't actually the leader of his army. So, obviously, a general is normally the guy standing on the edge of the battalion, but the Balrog model that fights for the Balrog battalion when that actually fights, which will be in Buzzradum now, that model is actually... the Balrog model is not the general. That guy over there is the general. Now, we have fixed that in the future by changing the way that this army spawns, but obviously it hasn't worked for this one. So, whilst today we're going to kill the Balrog, the actual battle model of the Balrog is currently in Buzzradum, and we'll have to fight him again in a moment. What are you? You are Khazad-dûm Reclaimers as well. Archers, once you're in position, please target those siege. Although, look, they've just killed one of their own. So they killed 3 of their own, in fact, along with a number of their own men, because they're firing their siege uphill. One must never fire siege uphill. This is an early lesson we learn. It's not very good. The heavy goblins are moving in. Oh, that was a good blow. Where are the pikes? Oh, the pikes made it in time. That's good. And it's the Grimborn Reavers that we're pulling up behind. Right, so archers. Every single one of you, target those catapults, please. And bring those the hell down. Oh, no, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Target the trolls.
The battle is very
Those trolls over there are making it around the edge.
Remain true and steadfast. Victory will be ours.
And axe throwers, you're throwing your axes at the trolls, aren't you? The trolls have flanked round. Right, we'll offer up that Blacklock Engineer unit as a sacrifice. Oh, the trolls have come around that side as well. Come on, axe throwers, come on. Right, when the trolls make it into our line, they will decimate us. I don't fight against trolls very often, and obviously it shows, alongside my just general ineptitude. They are smashing through our ranks and our lines. Now, of course, the Dragon Slayers will slaughter every single one of these heavy goblin nonsense You keep on those trolls over there. Keep it up. The catapults aren't actually too much of a worry anymore. They're killing themselves still. And what are we on? 26 of them have died, but we have taken a few losses ourselves. Keep firing, and you guys target that troll unit over there. Hit those trolls, come on! Point blank! No, just shoot these things that are standing on top of you. Did we save that Blacklock in here? No, that's a heavy goblin halberd. 6 of them are still alive somehow. And those trolls are coming around. Go on, keep going, keep going. 50% of the enemy is dead now, but 30% of us have paid for it. Those trolls over there are pretty much out of the game now.
Only half the enemy force.
That troll unit has floundered in the middle of nowhere and has paid heavily for it. But we have lost one of each of the ranged units. They have been offered up as a sacrifice. Right, so charge up and hit those. All of you in this line, don't be in defensive mode. And just go for it. We'll speed it up. There's not much going on. There we are. More trolls are down. There's that one over there still fighting on. That one has broken into the Grimborn ranks. Oh, no siege. Right, you archers. Come back into the line here. Stop what you're doing and shoot at that catapult now. And how are we doing over here? You can come around the side there and then target them. Who's over on that edge? Reclaimers. Doing what dwarves do best, I should hope. They're up against halberd. There's 3 trolls left there. There's a few trolls coming through the middle there. Oh, but one of them falls to an axe. Excellent. The reclaimers just keep on going. Keep on trucking. Now, annoyingly, yeah, the general is all the way down there. Have we got anyone free that we can run down there? Oh, look, our Dragon Slayers have taken a right beating. Moria actually doing very, very well indeed. Move, 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 move. Save the dragon, the Blacklock. Oh, they've run out of ammunition and they're throwing cows at us now. Underestimated the ability of Moria goblins here, haven't we? They've done very well. We managed to even get the hill to our advantage as well, but it's just the trolls, I think. If we were to see their kill tally, I would not be surprised if most, if not all of their kills were achieved by the trolls. And there are a few still fighting on. 2 over there, 2 here. There's 1. He's finally gone down. Those ones are now dead. They're running away. In fact, everything is now dead, save for the siege crews and those trolls that have gone with them. So away we go.
We have lost half our men. The enemy general lies dead.
Yes, the Balrog is no more.
And let our swords have his men.
And a single troll fights on as the Dragon Slayers end him. Fantastic. That's half our army. Dear, oh dear. Most kills, 209. Yes, 209 Dragon Slayers. Fantastic to see. Melee unit taking the top spot. Second place, 202 Dragon Slayers. Well done. And then finally in third place with 153, joint third place, Khazad-dûm Reclaimers and Blacklock Engineers. Interesting. The worst units were the one unit of Khazad-dûm Reclaimers who only got 9, and another unit of Khazad-dûm Reclaimers who got only 6. Now the one that got 9 was the general, so that must have been axes alone. So the axes killed 9. Now if one of those was a troll, that's not too bad, but that's a terrible, terrible showing. It's very annoying though that you can't see what the enemy got. So I can't see if it was trolls that got all of their kills, or if it was just the halberds just slowly whittling away at us. We'll never know. We will never know. But it is done. Their fate is sealed. Now I feel like that is the stronger of the two armies. So whilst there's still a garrison remaining in Basradun, I think that's the bulk of the challenge gone. But of course remember that in here is actually the Balrog. Because he spawned wrong. He probably won't have a UI icon actually, now that I think about it, but we'll find out in a moment when we end the turn. I should imagine we'll be attacked, probably at Oinsulin. I don't know about Captain Lacan at Barketta, but we'll find out.
Leaving the army.
As we end the turn and move for it. Obviously, as many survivors as can come back from Basradun would be fantastic, but it's not the end of the world if they don't, because they cost an absolute arm and a leg. And so with that army dead, we are then able to field a second army. Although, field with what, I don't know, because we have no recruitment capability. Ah, yes, Oinsulin. We have 301, he has 722. This time, though, Rudaurans and Wargs. Now, Wargs are rubbish in melee, 4 attack, 7 defense. Particularly these Wargs, anyway, because they're mostly ranged. He's got 2 Angrim units, but there are no Iron Crown. So this time the battle is considerably more in our favour, as it's the Iron Crown units that are outclassing us. Angmar's early tier units are way worse than our early tier units, so even though we're outnumbered 2 to 1, I don't fear for our lives. But if they had Iron Crown forces, I would be concerned. And the gate is already fallen. I'm wondering if it's not worth pushing back to the square, because we want to kill the Wargs as quickly as we can so they don't get any range kills. So instead, I'm thinking if we just plug that gap. They don't have any siege, do they? No, they've got a battering ram, but whether or not they use it, I doubt they will, to be honest, because when there's already a gap, the AI tends to drop any siege and just go for it. That'll have to do, the closest I can get you. We've got 95 of them, and at least they're not that one, but we've got 50 of them. 33 of you are much better, but of course our real saving grace is our general, who will be fantastic today. We've got the crossbows, we can use in a pinch, and cavalry as well. Otherwise that is everyone in a line, isn't it? Yep. Let's see what they do. They are just going to come straight for the gap, that's perfect. And the pikes, the 2 pike units up against Wargs will have an absolute field day. No threat at all, really. But then the enemy pikes have arrived, so we've killed as many as we can do there. And now we can play our trump card, that we still have the gate. Willkommen!
The walls are no longer ours. The enemy have taken them.
Go on. No, push through, push through. There we go. Right, we've got them pinned. They are breaking us on that side, though. Start targeting those pikes, please, because it's the pikes that are going to win this if it wins for the day for them. 50% of them have died. But I've just realised we have now left the path to the square open, and we put in their path quite possibly our worst unit, so that's a bit of a shambles.
Badly bloodied. They have lost half their men.
But if we can really disrupt their ranks,
is very much in our favour. If we remain true and steadfast,
get our elite units to plunge into their side there, they might just flee. Oh no, bugger, their wargs have come for us. Go and help. Yes! Oh, bugger, we've lost another general. Yes! Just, he needed to hold on for a few more seconds. But now Golion has fallen as well. Most kills, Ered Luin militia, 204. That's interesting. But Golion is gone as well. But that's, I mean, we've got generals coming out of our ears. So, as I've always said, I don't get attached to a general until they've done something. I don't care if he's my faction leader or my faction heir or a newly come of age general. If he's not done anything, I don't care about him at all. But once they have a story, I then get very, very attached to them. In the Dol Amroth campaign, for example, whilst I'm already predisposed to like Imrahil because he's from the book, so there's a natural emotional connection to him already. But were he just, let's take Istian, for example, who's been running around the world with him. I'm very attached to Istian in the Amroth campaign because he's done so much. He has such a checkered story behind him. Whereas Glein, I didn't even know who Glein was. I think he was a general who came of age and just happened to be in the city when it's fallen there. So I'm very unlikely to care about him because he's essentially a nobody. Which he obviously wouldn't want to hear, but it's the truth, I'm afraid, Glein. Right, we got a pike unit out of there, which is good. We'll take that.
That'll do him today, son.
Oh, we make so much more money with the death of that army. See, like, you, Clan Herald Nuris, you don't need to be sitting in there doing sod all, do you? We've got 2 generals in there that we're going to take, so if we move Kuri out to the front, and we move Nuris into Gahuzanar, that'll do nicely, and then we move up to siege Basradun. And there, that's the Balrog. Ah, so he does get his UI. But yeah, it's just wrong. So that obviously should be the general. But instead, Egfrid, who is a goblin bodyguard, is going to take it. But only 2 troll units. And yes, as I thought. So the actual Balrog army is very powerful. And the backup army led by Egfrid is considerably less powerful. So we've done the hard part. Now we just have to finish it. And then we can get the game's possibly best unit. The Balerian Honor Guard. Now, who of you can move out already?
My king. My king. Aye, lord.
You, and you all can. So you all head back. Oinsulun is soon to become the graveyard of Ered Luin. Particularly if Grinfan falls there as well. It'd be disappointing. Our catapult has arrived, and so will be present in the battle, which helps. But it'll be coming in from very, very far away. But other than that, when I end this turn, we're probably going to be attacked, and I am going to end the episode there instead. So, we've taken down the actual general that is the Balrog, but we actually have to yet fight the Balrog in our climactic claim of Basradum. On the eastern front, we're just holding on until we can get better forces from Fahamgathol or Gorshall, or indeed our generals in the south here can make their way north. That is what we must hold for. Once we have cleansed the land of Angmar, the Northern Dunedain, and Bree, the campaign will be won. That is our objective. I'm not bothered about Dunland or Enedwaith. But Bree, the Northern Dunedain, and Angmar, they need to fall. I need to practice my breathing, I think. I've been doing this for years now, and yet still, I constantly run out of breath while I'm recording these, and it's why there's often pauses like that, although that one was entirely fictitious. But that is why I do them, because I'm just breathing, and I try not to make a sound when I'm breathing. But anyway, you don't need to hear all of that. That is the end of the episode. So thank you very much for watching, if indeed you have. Tomorrow will be the Developer Diary, and thereafter episode number 3, where we will take Basradum once and for all. So thank you all for the name suggestions. If we come across a name suggestion again, do be sure to make sure you suggest one that you would actually want to call it, rather than just here's 15 different names. But thank you all nevertheless, and we've settled on Oinsulun. Thank you to LD for that. But until we speak again, dear friends, Nehair Naden Perimad Melunin, and farewell.